Oh, welcome everyone to part two of MS Path to Care webinar series, where we're talking about mood and movement, what we know, what you can do, and who can help. I'm Roz Kalb, and I'm a clinical psychologist with Can Do, and I'm joined by my colleague, Mandy Rorig.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Thanks, Roz. Glad to be here. The learning objectives for this part two of the series are, hopefully, we want you all to learn strategies for overcoming emotional barriers to staying active. Hopefully, you will also explore and learn some options for staying active both independently and with others, and learn possible approaches for motivating yourself and hopefully motivating those around you. And then brainstorm some conversation starters that allow you to get to thinking about how you want to talk about these different strategies.
So we want to review the emotional barriers that we talked about in more detail in part one of this series. But the kinds of emotional barriers that get in the way sometimes are the ones you see on the screen. Well, if I can't do it the way I did it before, I'm just not interested in doing it anymore at all. Or if I can't win, I don't want to try, because competition is the most important part to me. I don't want to look disabled when I'm being active. There isn't time in my day. I have too many other important things I have to do. It all feels too hard, and I just don't want to try. What if I fall or get hurt? That makes me nervous. I worry that my family will be embarrassed because I look different with my limited abilities. Or my family is worried for my safety and they don't want me to be physically active because I'm afraid I'm going to get hurt. So now Mandy and I are going to talk together about some strategies for managing those barriers. As you know, from the introductions, one of us is talking from the psychology/mental health perspective and the other from the physical therapy rehab perspective. So one of the first things that I recommend as a psychologist is to figure out how you might want to reset your priorities. It may take some change, it may take some rethinking, but maybe the priority shifts from being the best in the bunch to being part of the bunch and enjoying physical activity and exercise. Sometimes, in order to do that, one has to spend some time feeling sad, grieving over the changes or losses that you've experienced before you can move on. That grieving process is normal and healthy, and it's the first essential step to moving on and making changes in your life to accommodate MS. It's important to be willing to be creative, to experiment and try new ways of doing things, or trying new activities that you've never done before. That's a mindset that you're willing to be a little more adventurous. And find a buddy. It's always easier to do things when you've got a support person right there to be your cheerleader.
I like that find a buddy one, Roz, and especially in the environment that we're in nowadays. Remember that buddy doesn't have to be right beside you all of the time. That person can be someone you talk on the phone to, or that you're able to meet at a Can Do MS program. That can be your motivational partner also. But I think this first bullet, as far as my thoughts about managing these barriers, and the rehab thought, is to accept that health is a priority. Make health a priority. Make physical activity a priority and communicate that to others that this is important. This is just as important as taking your medication to help manage your MS symptoms. This is a priority for your MS and a priority for your overall health. No one's going to get more than 24 hours in a day, unfortunately. So if we don't make the most of those 24 hours and include that physical activity and exercise, no one's going to do it for us. So make that a priority. The second bullet is about adaptations. Now, I think it's important to, like Roz mentioned, have an open mind and a willingness to consider other ways of doing things and maybe using different tools that can help you do more. I'm often reminded of a previous client of mine who was very reluctant to use any type of mobility aid. And he could walk about a quarter of a mile to a half a mile without any mobility aid. But he wanted to do more. He wanted to get that 1 mile walk in every day. And I encouraged him to try using a rolling walker, one with 4 wheels. Tried that and he could do 1 mile, no problem. He felt great. He wasn't as tired and he was safer. So an adaptation, a tool, finding a new way to be active allowed him not only to be safer, but to do more. So having an open mind and being willing to explore those things in an environment that feels safe and comfortable, and that might be with your rehab team members. And lastly, everyone can do some form of exercise. I truly believe this. Regardless of your ability level, everyone can do some type of exercise or physical activity that is beneficial for your MS and is beneficial for your overall health. And use your team members if you're struggling a little bit to find what those activities might be.
So a few more possible approaches to consider. It's important to communicate your desire to do activities together, right? Reach out to a friend, to a spouse or partner, to a child, and indicate that you would like to find some ways to be physically active together. I also encourage people who have concerns about safety or want ideas for the kinds of adaptive equipment that might work for them to consult with a physical therapist like Mandy. You get wonderful ideas, you get guidance on how to do it, and you leave feeling more confident, more able to work towards whatever goals you set for yourself. And be sure to reassure your friends and family that you are paying attention to your safety, that you're not taking unnecessary risks, and that you're using those tools that you might need to enhance your balance and make it safe for you to do what you're doing.
And trying those new activities or trying those adapted activities and realizing that you can become successful when you're doing them increases your confidence. So realizing you can do an activity that you maybe dismissed because of your MS that you suddenly still can do is a really empowering and invigorating feeling for people. And then sharing that experience with others can often inspire others to try something new and different also. In order to be able to overcome the barrier of fitting in your exercise and physical activity would be to consider sprinkling it throughout the day, or trying to do 5 minutes in the morning, 2 minutes after lunch, 2 minutes here, knowing that all of that adds up and has an overall positive impact on your health and wellness. So sprinkle your exercise throughout the day not only allows you to achieve it, but it can also help you minimize the impact of fatigue or even just a time, like busy schedules. That can be a barrier for a lot of people. And certainly work with a psychologist like Roz, or a mental health professional who understands MS if you are having trouble dealing with the changes that MS is having on your life and on your physical activity. So some conversation starters. Sometimes the hardest part about getting started is getting started, right, Roz? It's just trying to start the conversation with any of these key players. So we just decided to come with a few ideas. So when you're sitting down with your healthcare provider, maybe you say, hey, I need some suggestions for exercises I actually can do. Can you help me? Maybe that's a rehab professional or someone on your medical team. How much exercise and physical activity do I really need? Again, gets that conversation going. And can I be screened for depression? If you're having trouble with motivation, that is a very key question you'll need to ask. And with your partner, will you be my cheerleader? Will you help support me as I'm trying these new activities? Is there a way we can do some exercise together? As Roz mentioned earlier, that buddy system can be really helpful to motivate and then to help people adhere to an exercise program. And maybe it's trying something as new as a tandem bicycle, where you can do something together and laugh and enjoy the exercise together. And with a friend or coworker, could we go for a short walk during our lunch break? Can we sign up for a yoga class? Again, any specific ideas that you have to get those conversations going and encourage exercise and physical activity.
And here are some conversation starters specifically for a support partner. So you're a support partner for a person with MS, and you're interested in finding ways to help motivate them, encourage them, do things with them. So these are some conversation starters that you as a support partner might consider. With a healthcare provider, I'm worried my husband with MS isn't getting enough exercise. How can I help him get more? Do you have any suggestions for me on how to be a good cheerleader for him? I'm so busy caring for her, I don't get to the gym anymore. And we do hear this a lot from our support partners, that they either are neglecting their own physical activity and exercise, or they simply can't fit it into their busy schedules. I'm worried about my own health. Can you give me suggestions on what to do so that I can get the exercise and physical activity I need? And with a loved one with MS, a support partner might say, would you consider some type of walker or scooter so we could be more active together? I think of those adaptive tools as tools for the whole family, right? If someone has a motorized scooter, the whole family can do more. So I love that, that kind of conversation. I feel guilty going out to ride my bike when you're home alone, but it is important for my wellness. So speaking up, prioritizing their own health and wellness is a first step for support partners to try to figure out how to fit it into a day and how to work it out with their loved one with MS so that it's okay and it's safe and they can get out and do what they need to do. So taking the first step is almost always the hardest. Once we build up a little momentum, it's easier to keep going. But I think important first steps: talk to your healthcare provider before starting any major new exercise program. Get yourself checked out, make sure it's okay. Aim for consistency. We always do better, stay motivated more easily when we are consistent in the things that we're trying to do. As Mandy has said, spread exercise and physical activity throughout the day. You can think of those as exercise snacks that you intersperse through the rest of your busy day. Make a plan with a friend, because when you make a plan, you always feel a little more committed to get it done. Use patient advocacy group webinars like Can Do MS, the National MS Society, podcasts, and information about how to exercise, how to stay active, and how to keep up your motivation. And sometimes the motivation doesn't come first. Sometimes the motivation comes after you take the first step and you build your confidence, and then you feel motivated to do more.
So a few more first steps, some ideas. Consult with a PT, consult with someone who can help you figure out what those exercise options all include. What can you do on days when you're really fatigued and feeling kind of crummy? What can you do on the days when you're feeling pretty good? Have them help you kind of do the background investigative work to help you prioritize what exercises are most important and can be helpful for you. Wear your workout clothes to bed. We've had people tell us this before, and I've actually personally done this. It takes that step out of the morning and you're already ready to go and start your exercise routine the moment you open your eyes. Setting a schedule, blocking a schedule, a time in your day that is committed to your health and wellness, that's committed to your physical activity, and communicate that with others so they don't interfere with it. Setting movement alarms. We're all often in front of our computers a bit more often than we used to be. And if that's the case, reminding ourselves to get up and do some of those exercise snacks and moving around a little more often can be helpful. This is important, you guys, to remember that missing one workout, one exercise opportunity doesn't mean that the whole thing becomes derailed and that you can't continue. It doesn't mean failure. It means that you can have the opportunity the next day to try again and to recalibrate, recalculate, and do it again. So please remember that just because one day feels a little off doesn't mean the next day is not going to be better. And certainly celebrate those successes. Celebrate when you get that quarter mile walk in or when you get that 1 mile walk in, and use those cheerleaders and those people that will help celebrate with you. And I think, wouldn't you agree, Roz, the person who has embodied this idea of focusing on what you can do is our founder, Jimmy Huga, who was an Olympic downhill skier, as you can see in the left picture, and continued to be a leader in the ski world from a slightly different position, but still active like he wanted to be in that right side, that right picture on the right side. So Jimmy focused on what he could do and stayed active throughout his life living with MS. In addition to the MS Path to Care video series, there is also an MS Path to Care wellness podcast series. I would encourage you to check that out as well. Thank you all for joining us and have a wonderful day.